Namaste. My name is Rohil and today I'm going to be taking you through a few different ways in which we can sit for our meditation. So meditation is often done cross-legged or in a lotus position, and a lot of us struggle a lot to sit in meditation in these postures. We always have knee pain, and oftentimes we are really challenged with the physical aspect of sitting cross-legged rather than actually being able to meditate. So one thing that I really advise all my students is when you are sitting on the ground to try and make sure that your both knees are touching down onto the mat or onto the ground that you're sitting on. So a lot of us don't have the flexibility to be able to do that. We don't have the external rotation of the hips, the opening of the hips to sit in that way. And so in that moment, it's important to take maybe one cushion, two cushions, three cushions, as much of height underneath and sit on that height. So the more height you sit on, the more it will rotate your hips so that your knees can touch down. So if the knees are down, resting down on the mat, there is a much lesser chance of feeling pain or having an injury in the knees. So that is really important when we sit. Now, sometimes, of course, we can sit in a cross-legged position where our knees are not on the mat. So in this way, here, of course, we want our knees to be still rested on our feet. So our knees are here still resting on the feet. So they are still not dangling in the air. So something like this, where I'm sitting like this with my knees in the air, after some point of time, this is going to create a lot of pain and tension in the knees. So I always want that support. Another way, if we have created a bit of height and we have a little bit of opening in our hips, is to sit in Ardha Siddhasana or half Siddhasana, where we are just sitting. One leg heel is close to the perineum and the other leg just in front. So just in this way, this is an easy way to sit for a long period of time on the ground. We can also take variations of the half Siddhasana, which is to put one leg just on top in this way. This is also quite an easy position. It requires a little, actually lesser flexibility than the previous one. And then we can also go into a position where we bring our foot. So we bring our foot inside our calf and then we roll the foot down. So this is also a very comfortable way to sit for long periods of time when we are meditating. Then we can progress onto the full variation of Siddhasana. So for the full variation of Siddhasana, Siddhasana means immortal or accomplished one. So this is a posture that was used by yogis who wanted to sort of go beyond their mortality, go beyond, transcend their limitations. So we bring our left heel close to the perineum. Left heel touches the perineum, and then we bring our right heel over the left. So bringing the right heel directly stacked over the left. This posture requires quite a bit of flexibility in the hips. So do make sure that you're not hurting your knees as you attempt this. So the full Siddhasana position is actually, once we develop that flexibility in the hips, is actually very relaxing for the knees, because we are in some ways engaging our inner thighs as we do this, and so there's less pressure on the knees. And of course then the posture that everybody that is most used in meditation, which is the full lotus, where we bring both legs one after the other. And of course different traditions say different things about which leg should be first. In the yoga traditions, it's always right leg first, but if you go into the Tibetan or the Buddhist traditions, they actually do the lotus with the left leg first. So the lotus position should not be attempted, especially if we don't have that flexibility in the hips. So it's very easy to hurt our knees when we do the full lotus. So ideally, when we are sort of practicing or trying to get into the lotus, we should always start with the half lotus and just starting in this way. If this is also challenging and it's very difficult to do it, then we can always modify and do certain other practices to help us to get into lotus. So a lot of the time what happens is that we pull our leg and we try our best to get into full lotus, and we harm ourselves in the process. So we don't want to do that. If you find that it's difficult for the knee or difficult for your hips to come into lotus, it should not be, you should not use lotus as a way of trying to achieve lotus posture. So what I mean by that is that you must not keep practicing thinking that it will get better, but instead doing things like what we do in the Ashtanga practice, the Marichasana B, Marichasana D, where you straighten out one leg, you bring the other leg into half lotus, and then you bend out the other leg, lifting your, so you'd sort of be in this kind of a position, and from here you can lift your left butt to bring the right knee down. So these positions are really great to open up the capacity to do lotus. So first, starting with this, of course, if you can't come all the way here, even if it's just something like this, in the beginning it's good enough. Slowly you can walk the legs slightly closer, just holding here, trying to lift your left butt and bringing your right knee down, and then slowly all the way bringing the heel to the hip and then bringing it down. And you can also play around here. You don't have to just stay upright like this. You can also move towards one side, leaning, going down onto your forearms, sort of just spending more and more time of your day in this position. Additionally, a lot of people, because we have lifestyles where we are sitting on our chairs, we are sitting for long periods of time, sedentary on the chairs, it's very difficult by just doing, say, half an hour or 1 hour of yoga or 2 hours of yoga to change those patterns. So we really have to also start in our day-to-day life, changing the way in which we sit. So if we spend more time sitting cross-legged, it will automatically help us and enable us to be able to sit for longer periods of time and even achieve the lotus position. So even if you have office trying to maybe modify buying a new kind of chair so that you can sit without the armrests, so that you're sitting in a cross-leg position for more time during the day. That's it for this video. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.